Hi, I'm Frederick March. Welcome to my podcast, Best Practices To, ... This is episode 1, my introduction. Hi. My name is Frederick March, and I have decided to start a new project for me. I am in the beginning stages of changing a lot of things in my life as far as physical appearance, mental status, and financial situation, business-wise. I have been involved in a lot of things for most of my life. I've tried a lot of different careers and other businesses and stuff. But I've always had failure. I've always given up. I've always limited my potential because I would just get to a point where it was difficult and I would just stop. Some things were flowing even really well and doing really well, and I would sabotage them and not go to the next point and not become successful, not become financially successful, and become physically successful. So I'm trying to start a process where I can walk through this life that's been given to us and to document what's happening and the things that I learn, and to talk about the things that I've already learned. I'm already a certified coach. I've done that before. I'm already a ordained minister. I was a chef. I was a computer programmer. I had my own websites. I've done podcasts before, taken them all down. Nothing's up right now. So I have always been in a mindset of learning about myself, learning about what it takes to be successful, why I am the way I am, why I sabotage myself. And so I'm learning that process. I'm going through the channels and I'm listening to podcasts about mindsets and intentional living and intentional eating and all this kind of things. And so I can see it's starting to work. Mentally, I'm starting to see, also a lot of time in prayer with God, talking about who I am in His eyes. But not only that, what I need to do. And one of the basics that God showed me in the beginning was you need to watch every thought that comes through your head. And if it's not yours, reject it. If it's yours, figure out where it came from if it's negative. Okay, so I've been walking through that process of figuring out who I am. What am I all about? What do I believe? What do I think? Why do I react the way I react? Because sometimes I overreact to a situation where the person is not even intending to be negative, but I right away go into a negative. Now, I'm not saying I had a horrible childhood. I've known people who've gone through worse than myself. But what I did go through has affected me. And I do know that there is probably some sort of little controllers in there that are trying to keep me safe and protect me, because it's dangerous out here and you can get hurt and you don't want to get hurt. I've spent a lot of my childhood being bullied. I mean, beat up every day at school. I lost my dad, my birth father, when I was 2. And my mom met another man, came into our lives, and the beginning was great. My brother was born with him as father, and it started getting worse, and he started to drink and do drugs. It became very difficult. And all those things that come along with an alcoholic and a drug addict in the house, and all the violence and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of that. So at home, it was difficult. At school, it was difficult. I was bullied a lot. I suffer with dyslexia, and I've always been chubby, always been overweight, and not always. See, this is another thing that I need to check. I haven't always been overweight. I was overweight when I was a child, and then there was a point in time between maybe 12 and 23, 24 where I wasn't overweight. I was actually quite fit. I started doing martial arts. I started, I was very active. And, at one point, I would always, I thought, I've always been fat. I've always been overweight. I've always been that way. And then I had to literally look back at my life and realize when I was in my 20s and I was in martial arts and I was dancing every single night and I was lifting heavy weights all the time. And I realized, wait a second, I had size 32 pants as when I was in my 20s, and I was very fit, very fit. I would run up and down stairs all night long and then dance all night long. I was quite fit, but I didn't see myself even then as fit. I saw myself as fat even then while I was fit. So there's mindsets. You have the same kind of, you might have the same kind of situation that I went through, where teachers weren't very kind to me. I can only remember one teacher that ever lifted me up and helped me out, and that was Mr. Cherry when I was in grade 5 in W.E. Gowling Public School. He was a good man. He was the first teacher to tell me that I wasn't stupid, that I wasn't wasting my time. I wasn't wasting their time, and said that I was actually quite intelligent and that I just had one issue that I needed to work on. And I was dyslexic. He didn't know. He didn't say the word dyslexic to me at the time. He just said, you have a learning disability and, you need to work past it. So he didn't teach me how to read. He taught me how to teach myself something. He said, figure out how you learn stuff. Biggest change in my life from that man. Everything. But before that, I was lazy. I was stupid. I was never going to amount to anything. Why would anybody in any kind of position of authority say that to a child? I have no clue. But they did. In front of the whole class. And so it prompted the class and the bullies in the class to pick me out as a target. Hey, fatso, hey, fatty, and then beat you up. And I got beat up every single day. I had to run from school to make sure that I didn't get caught and beat up. And that didn't even work because I wasn't very fast. So, and anybody who was my friend would get beat up. So it was hard to make friends because everybody was afraid to be my friend. There was one gentleman in my school named Ray Sege who was my friend and knew that it came with risks and did it anyways and got beat up because of it. Still stayed to be my friend. The weird thing about our relationship, it started off with a bully bullying me to the point where he wanted me to go beat up Ray. Otherwise, he'll beat me up. So I approached him, and we were at a playground. I approached him. I said, listen, this guy over here is going to beat me up if I don't do something. So can I just push you down? He's like, what? No. I'm like, but he's going to beat me up. And anyways, that was the beginning of a relationship. That I was bullying him because I was being bullied. Even at the time, I knew that the bullies were hurt. They were feeling pain, and that's why they were bullying. At that time, I get myself into trouble because one of the bullies would come after me, and I would be like, just because your dad hits you doesn't mean you need to hit me. Wow, did I get a beating? Yikes. And then another time, a bully would come at me, and I said, well, just because your mom left doesn't mean you need to beat me up. And they would beat me. And I don't know these people, but I obviously had insight that I did not understand. And I learned real quick to shut that down because I wasn't Now I'm a believer, but I wasn't a believer then when I was a kid. Now, when I was a little kid, oh yeah, my days were filled with spending time with God. And my favorite game to play was Warrior Soldier of God. And that's where I would be. I would be a warrior angel for God, and I would be fighting demons, and because I was by myself a lot, because I was bullied most of my life. Even different places we moved, I get into the place and I carried with me something that people wanted to beat down on. So, anyways, I had a relationship, but then when I would learn things through God, and I would speak them out to people, especially even my parents, my mom, they would, they didn't like, where you learn that from? I was like, okay, because it was causing condemnation in them, and then they didn't like it. So then I stopped talking about any of that stuff, and I stopped that relationship. It's sad, but it's true. But I got it back. Anyways, so there's a lot of things from my past that have caused me to, some people call it a big T or a little T, a big trauma or a little trauma. I've had both. I've had abuse issues that I'm not going to get into. Person's still around, so I'm not going to talk about that. And so, but I've had those things that I needed to deal with. I haven't gone for counseling, like there's legitimate counseling. I have went into spiritual counseling with people who were pastors that were over me, and I sat with them and I talked about emotions and feelings and the rage that sometimes when I was younger would rise up in me, and I'd pick up a motorcycle and throw it or some crazy thing like that. But I really never wanted to hurt anybody. I never wanted to attack anybody. I felt sorry for the people who were attacking me even, and it confused me big time. I knew that my brother's father, well, birth father, not what we call dad, he wasn't a very pleasant person. So my mom kind of convinced him not to be a part of our family when Michael was around 3. I think it was around 3, around that age, from 2 to 5 in that age, probably 3-ish, 3, 4. And he did. He left, went somewhere else, lived somewhere else, started a new life somewhere else, which was good for us. My mom met another gentleman. He was Johnny. The beginning as well, he was pleasant, easy to. Now he was Portuguese. His English wasn't very good, but he was pleasant and easy to talk to. But then when he became comfortable with us and he moved in, he became part of our family, then his anger issues started coming to the surface. Now, he wasn't a big drinker. He didn't do any drugs, nothing like that. But he had anger, lots of anger. He had abuse from his childhood that he hadn't dealt with. And we had struggles for many, many, many years with my dad, Johnny. I call him Dad because he's really the only father I've ever had besides my Heavenly Father. It was difficult for a long time. But then my brother got born again with his girlfriend. And then through the family going to events with my brother and his wife, my parents got born again. And my dad completely changed. He was an angry man, a frustrating man, a very difficult one to talk to. His opinion was always right. And he just changed. He became peaceful, loving, caring, didn't get angry anymore. All he wanted to do was love people. And he apologized profusely to my brother and I about the lifestyle that we lived before. Just was a beautiful relationship after that, like a very beautiful relationship. It took me many years even after that before I walked into a church and accepted Jesus Christ. I went to a mosque before I went to a church. I went to a Buddhist temple before I went to a church. I went to shamanism classes, transcendental medical classes. I tried a lot of different things. I was looking for God everywhere. Last place I thought he would be in church for me. So I am not close to all the beliefs that people have. Just know it's right for me. And for me, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and God is my Father. That's how it works for me. And it has been a glorious walk with him. He has shown me and himself, and I'm seeing a lot. It's helped me a lot. Now, I've always been involved with, I listened to Tony Robbins way before I became a believer, and I did meditations and all that kind of stuff before. Now, I do them now, but they're different now. Now they're focused in a God presence. But I know that those things are not of God. They're of God. It's just that people have found their own way to get to it. We're learning. Humanity has been looking to try to figure out this planet, this universe, us, everything that's been created. And they're just finding ways to get access to stuff that God's created. But they don't know that God created, or they're not willing to look at that. But that's okay. It still works. Sowing and reaping still works. If you take a seed and you put it in the ground and you plant it, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or not. It's still going to grow into a seed and to a plant, and then you can get fruit from it. The laws are still in effect. You can still figure out how they work because God created a physical world. So everything works in a physical way. He created electricity, he created light, he created energy. He created these things in order to do a certain task. So you could figure things out and figure out why this happens and why electricity flows through our brain and why and what happens. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's the way it was designed to be. We're just figuring that out. And what's really great about this time in this world is that we are figuring things out, and people are getting freedom, and people are understanding more about themselves and their mindsets and their triggers and all those kind of things. And it's a great thing. There's a wonderful stuff, and I really feel like I want to dive into it 100%. Now, I have a full-time job. I wasn't sure about getting into it, but I'll get into it. I've done a lot of things in my life, a lot of jobs that I wasn't too happy to do. Cooking, I was a chef, but I didn't enjoy cooking in restaurants. Didn't enjoy it at all. I was a security guard for a long time. Didn't really enjoy that. Right now I'm working as a property manager, which is like a handyman, and I fix a bunch of things, which to me is like, what? I have never considered myself to be a handy, but hey, here I am being the handyman and learning and fixing things. And I have an analytical mind where I can figure things out. So if I go into a situation that I've never seen before, I can usually determine, okay, this is supposed to be doing this is supposed to be doing that. So the faulty area is over here. And then YouTube, watch the video. Oh, that's how you fix that thing. Okay, yeah, I was right. Okay, let's fix it. So I'm doing that full time. I'm not going to say anything more about that because who knows, my boss might watch this. I don't want to tell them to know that I might not want to be doing this forever. I want to be doing what I'm doing now. I want to be talking with you. I want to be helping you and helping you in the process of helping me. You hear all the time people who are successful and say, oh, I want to be just like you. And then people who are successful say, you wouldn't want to go through what I went through to get here. I'm like, okay, but what was that? Oh yeah, it was very difficult. Well, I want to show through this process what I'm going through to be successful, to change my mindset about money, to change my mindset about this body, how I'm envisioning myself, how I'm looking inside, and imagination, and using that to create my reality on the outside. Because neurologically, our mind doesn't know the difference between reality or an imagination. As long as you put as much detail in it as possible and add some emotion to it, and then use that as a tool to see yourself down the road where you want to be in a successful place. You are already an expert in this. If you are a person who ruminates, who always thinks about things that has already happened and getting upset about it, you are already an expert at imagination, because you're taking those things and you're extrapolating it out into your current situation, and you're taking it and you're saying, oh, because this happened to me, this will happen now. You don't know that. You are going to make that happen because you're thinking that way. So what you need to do is you need to go, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. I've learned from that. And now I can see myself being successful. Now, when I close my eyes and I see my body in a mirror, in an image, I see a fit, strong body. You're watching the camera, the video. I'm not a fit, strong body, but I see it. I'm walking towards that goal. Now, it's not just you think about it and it just happens. No, nobody does that. You think about it, and then you figure out why you have triggers to stop what you do before. And you find the tools. For me, right now, I'm doing delayed eating. So I am only eating within 12 o'clock and 6. That's when I eat. Now, if I want to eat something that's not healthy for me, I can do that, because I'm using within that window of time that I'm eating. The rest of the time, I'm not eating. And I'm just about to start to get into working out. I didn't want to put too much onto myself at the beginning. I wanted to make sure that I have this, they call it intermittent fasting, but I am delayed eating. I'm only eating within a week, and so, and the more I get control of this situation, the more I'm just going to reduce the size of the window, and maybe end up only having one meal a day, one big meal a day, but one meal a day, if I get to that place. But we'll see. I'll bring you along in the process. Not all the videos are going to be in this spot, in this situation. It might be in my truck when I'm working, and you'll see a bunch of junk behind me, because I want to put something out right then and there. I don't want to wait, because I want to be honest and transparent. I'm never going to put an edit in my videos. I'm going to keep everything in. I'm going to just go from beginning to end, no edits in between. Now, if I get sponsors and I need to put a little commercial in between, I might do that. Make some money. You got to do what you got to do. But I'm never going to edit anything out. I'm just going to keep on going. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. And if you think that I'm perfect because I edit everything together perfectly, and then you're going to think that you can't do what I'm doing, and you can do what I'm doing. There's nothing that says you can't do what I'm doing, or that I can't do what somebody else is doing. I have a lot of people that I have been standing on the shoulders of, Ed Milet, all kinds of wonderful, wonderful speakers who have great hearts, and, wonderful, wonderful speakers. Now, I'm not going to get into a list now because I didn't write it all down, and I don't want to forget anybody, but I am in the process. I'm learning. I think I'll be good at this. I've done quite a few podcasts in the past, and I have YouTube channels before. So this is going to be both YouTube and a podcast. And so let's work on it. I'm going to, the podcast is called Best Practices To ... which means I can say what the best practices to changing your mindset will be. The best practices for maybe for me to change my physical appearance. How that worked for me. I know that not everybody watching this is going to have the same reaction as me physically to working out, to eating. You're going to have to figure it out for yourself. That's what this life is all about. This life is all about us learning as much as we can about what's going on between here, because we've been programmed since we were kids to be careful, watch out, don't take any risks, don't take any. My gosh, it's not like anybody was vindictive when they did that. They were trying to protect us, and it's not that it was wrong either. But we programmed it to be careful. We gotta be careful. Don't take any chances. For me, life outside and inside was difficult. So I tried to get away from everything. So I'd sit my butt down in front of the TV and I'd watch the TV and close out the entire world around me. So my whole world now was in this box in front of me. Whatever's happening in there, that's it. Nothing else. So it's still to this day, it's a struggle for me to not sit and watch videos and TV shows and movies to try to get away from the struggles in life. I'm doing that a lot less than I used to. I still do it. But we're learning. It's not a bad thing. It's not a horrible thing to enjoy your entertainment, watching a movie, watching a TV show every once in a while. Not a problem. Not a big deal. Even if you watch it for a little bit every day, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's a way for you to escape from your life and not accomplish your goals, it's a problem. And that comes from recognizing your thought processes, your understanding about who you are. Now, I have recently wrote a book. For a person who's dyslexic, writing a book is quite a difficult thing to do, but I did it. I wrote a book. It's, well, I mean, more and more you can say it's a booklet. It's a small book. It's called Slay the Bully and the Wimp. And it's about a bully or a wimp and what they need to do in order to not be affected by the other. And premise is that both the bully and the wimp are you. And either a part of you that doesn't want to fight and then goes into that little box and watches it and doesn't want to see what's going on around them, doesn't want to recognize that it's, mindsets, it's fear, it's whatever it is. But the bully is the exact same thing. The only thing is they try to take and go outwards instead of going inwards. A wimp focuses inside and, oh, I'm so blah, blah, I'm this, blah, 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 blah. A bully feels the same way. The only difference is the bully then takes it and tries to put it on somebody else. Like, I feel like a loser. They don't say that out loud or even in their head, maybe. But I feel like a loser, so I'm going to make that other person feel like a loser. And so I can take my loser and put it on him, and then he can walk away, kind of like a scapegoat. So that's what the book is about. And it's about how to work through that process and how to learn who you are and how you react and why you react, and maybe do some inner healing about the things that may be triggers in your life. Now, people might not know what a trigger is, but basically the way I describe it is a trigger is a protective thing that you've had in yourself that no longer is useful. And now it's a weapon for other people. So that's why I call it a trigger, and that usually means it causes a reaction. But I'm actually using the image of a trigger on a gun. So in the past, something would happen to you, and it was like, okay, it's not safe. Don't do this. Don't go here. Don't talk to that person. Don't do it. And it was right to have that because it was a dangerous situation. But once that situation was passed and there was safety, you still have that inside of you. So say, for example, you're a bully and somebody calls you stupid. Your first reaction is to come up to them and to attack them, to come at them, and you fire. You pull that trigger. They say you're stupid. The trigger's pulled. The action has happened, and you're attacking because that's how you figure you do it. You attack. The bully, you don't. I mean, the wimp, you're not attacking. You're attacking inward. You're putting the gun on yourself. I am such a loser. I am such. It's not true. So the trigger causes a reaction, and it could be as simple as somebody saying something. If you don't even know, if you have an overreaction to something that you shouldn't be overreacting to, like if, for me, I'll just talk about me. If I have accomplished a bunch of goals, and then I talk to my wife, and my wife says, "Oh, that's great. You did all those things. Fantastic. Great job. I need you to do this, and I need you to do this, and I need you to do this." Right away, what I would do is like, it doesn't matter all the things that I've done. It was a waste of time. I'm such a loser. I didn't do all those other things. You know, that's not what she said. Not what she said. But that was the reaction in me. And so the wimp in me was like, "Wow, I'm such a loser. You know, I can't even do this stuff right. I can't accomplish all my goals. I can't do the, you know, I can't even keep my bed clean. I can't, you know, wash my own clothes. Whatever, you know." So stop them. And then you come into it and you just beat yourself up, which is something that I need to work on. I'm working on, and I'm getting better at, and I'm learning my triggers. The more you learn your triggers, the more you find other triggers. The big thing for my book, Slay the Bully and the Wimp, is that for both the bully and the wimp, you need to be conscious of your thoughts and your actions and your circumstances. Just be aware. Somebody says something to you and you get angry. Try to have within you the ability to say, "Wow, why am I angry? What's happening? Why did I react like that?" And then look into it. Maybe you'll find a memory from when you were a child and you were abused or whatever the situation is, and then work on that and say, "Oh, okay, do you still think that you're a loser? Do you really still think that?" And then build a new image of yourself in that area. Use your imagination. Go into the garden of your mind and build this scenario where you are standing in a position where you feel powerful, you feel strong. Maybe it's an image of you standing in front of a crowd doing a public speaking event, and they're cheering and they're happy and they're crying and they're enjoying it, and you're educating them and you're teaching them, and they are being changed. And you're the one that's facilitating that process. And feel pride. Actually feel pride in that image of you doing that. Feel the pride. Feel the, "Oh my gosh, I'm helping these people." I'm just talking, this is my situation myself. When I envision myself, I see myself as a physically healthy, strong, mentally happy, physically happy person who is stepping onto a stage and who is speaking to people and who's helping them, is helping them figure out who they are to become the best they could be. That's all I wanted to do when I was a coach. Like I do coaching for people who are coaches and teaching them how to market online and all this kind of stuff. And so that's all I wanted to do, is just help somebody. If I got paid to do it, wow, fantastic. But I just wanted to help people. But like everything else, inside I didn't feel like I was worthy. Like a failure. What do they call it? They call it imposter syndrome. Like, "Oh, I haven't made millions of dollars. I don't have a big, huge mansion. I don't drive this super nice car. I don't." Okay. Is that the only reason that anybody could help anybody, is if they have a lot of money? No. Have you learned things in your life? I'm talking to you and to me at the same time. Have you learned things in your life, techniques to get you from this point to this point? Have you figured out why people think the way they think? When I was working in psychiatric care, taking care of people who are, either developmentally delayed or just mood disorders and suicidal, I love talking to them. I love speaking with them. I love pulling out of them what's positive about them and not this negative stuff, because they were so good at meditating on the negative. Gosh, they were experts at meditating on the negative. I mean, they could just run that wheel nonstop. That's why they're suicidal. All they could think about is all the failures. All they could think about is how bad the situation was or how difficult their situation was. They couldn't even see past that. All you had to do was tell them, oh man, you're so beautiful. You're so smart. You're so lovely. Man, I love speaking with you. You are so entertaining to me. You're so educational to me. Wow, you're so great. And their moods would rise up. But they didn't know how to hold on to that. They didn't realize that I was speaking life into them. That's all I want to do in my life is to speak life into you. Oh my gosh. My dream life is to be in a place where I can just speak to you and to see you grow and survive and thrive and change your world. I would love to change the world, but more importantly to me is to change your world for the better. If you do that for that, I think you probably end up changing the world. I love people. You don't become an ordained minister and a pastor if you don't love people. I love people. I want to be there for everybody. I want to hold them up. And I know that I have in me to do that. I also have in me a whole lot of knowledge and understanding about a whole lot of other areas. And that's why when I would get into business coaching and I would help people with, differentiating themselves in the marketplace and becoming a specific, unique individual in their market to change that. I've always thought of myself as being quite stupid because I was told I was stupid. But it wasn't until I was in my early 30s. I am 54 now. And I was in my early 30s that a psychiatric hospital I was working for, somebody was upset with me because it was causing problems with methodology on how to take care of people. I thought it was cruel and unusual to do certain things. So they wanted to get rid of me. So because they checked in my charting and they found that there was some spelling mistakes. So they thought, okay, they have spelling mistakes. So let's check to see if, there's something we can do. And so then they sent me because I disclosed before I started, I had dyslexia and charting would be difficult for me. So I disclosed that. So they said, okay, well, we're going to get you tested to find out if you have dyslexia. So they sent me for 6 weeks to this doctor and he assessed me and he assessed me and assessed me. And he said, yes, you have dyslexia. You also have something called numeraxia, where numbers turned around. Yeah, okay. Then I also found out from him that I had a very high IQ. Would never have believed it if anybody told me that. There's no way. He said I was in the top 3 percentile, 183. Like, okay, what does that mean about anything? You could have the highest IQ on the planet and absolutely do nothing with your life. Doesn't make any difference. But it may give me a little bit of understanding of why I can take in so much visual and verbal information and retain it. Oh, okay. So saying needless to say, I have listened to a lot of podcasts. I've watched a lot of teaching videos. I've done to a lot of courses. I've done a lot of inner healing stuff. And most of it I still remember. Not a brag. It's who I am. I cannot write. I can't spell. I can't do a lot of other things, but I think I'm really good at a few things. I'm really good at listening, pulling in information. I love people, so I want to help them. It's my joy in life to help somebody get through something or pass something or even increase something in their life, that means more to me than money. I think it does. I don't have any money. I haven't had any money most of my life. I was working full time when I was 12 years old, and I had money back then, but it wasn't a lot of money. No need to get into that. Anyways, I want money, not because I want to have super nice things. I wouldn't mind nice things, but I know with more money, I can help more people. Because some people, yes, they need the mental information to help them get past triggers and mind blocks and mindsets, all that kind of stuff. But they also need a hand up financially. They need to be able to have the rent paid for a year. They need to be able to have a car, clothes, toys for the kids, whatever the situation is. Not in a place to pay for that, but I want to get to that place. I want to get to that place where I can help financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I don't want anybody to come to me for help and I don't have the tool sets to help them. I might not, but I want to know somebody. So part of this process is, yes, me talking about my situation, me talking about what's going on, but also interviewing people who are experts in their field, in mindset, in any area whatsoever. I know people, so I would love to interview them and talk to them on my podcast and my video blog to say, hey, what would you say about this situation? What would you say about this situation? I want to interview people. I want to get as much information on this channel that you can use, on this podcast that you could use to change your life. I want to change my life. I want to be better than I am right now. And I want to continue to be better and better and better. Sometimes that's going to look more difficult than it is. Sometimes that's going to be looking like I'm sitting still, but I'm doing work. Because mine said, oh my gosh, everything is created by this and by this. Everything. What you think and what you speak becomes your reality. And if you're always calling yourself stupid, if you're always calling yourself a loser, if you're always calling yourself unable to do this or unable to do that or not able to do this, you are right. You are creating that reality because I love the analogy of saying that we are like a starship and we're a captain and we have a crew. And you gotta speak to your crew. Whatever you say to your crew, they will do. And they will make sure the reticular activating system within ourselves will make sure that we become what we believe we are. And we need to change what we believe we are in order to change the reticular activating system so we can do better things in our lives, to achieve other goals in our life. Our thoughts and our words create reality. I love what the Bible says. You have within your tongue good and bad, happy, sad, love, and death. So you speak out what you want. Even God in the Bible says, my suggestion is speak life. You have within you to speak either one. But my suggestion is to speak life. Most important aspect of my walk is my faith. And I'd be remiss not to offer that as a sample for you. You don't have to accept Jesus Christ into your heart if you don't want to. That's your choice. That's your choice. Unbelievably your choice. No, God has never said that it wasn't. It's yours. but I know what it did for me. And I can't say that I'm trying to help you and not talk to you about this, because I don't believe I can help you unless I talk to you about my relationship with God. Now I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and God walks through my life with me. He speaks to me in my spirit. He speaks to everybody. Some people just call it a conscious. Some people call it the mindset. God will talk to you. He'll show you what you need to do. He did for me, and he will for you. It's just, I need to put it out there because I can't say that I want to help you and not talk about this. Doesn't make sense. Well, this is just the beginning. It's the first video that I made. Just to say hello. Who am I? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want to help you? I don't know you. I really don't. Not yet. But I really do love you. I really do. I love you so much. You are a gift to this planet. You would not be here if there wasn't a plan for you. Not even just a plan, but something big for you to do. Let's walk through this process together. Hopefully, what you'll learn is techniques and how to walk this life. Become a better you. Change the way you feel about physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. If you don't know it or not, you are a spiritual being that has a soul, lives in a body. That is what you are. And so all those three things can be in alignment, walking towards greatness. Another podcast I really enjoy, School of Greatness. Check it out. Really good. Anyways, I love you. Talk to you soon.